Hello, my name is Alyssa Hurl, and I am here interviewing this lovely lady. Would you like to tell us what your name is?
My name is Stacey Janz Smith.
And have you always had this name?
I have not. I was born in 1968 and my name was Stacey Patricia Janz. In 1994 I got married and changed my last name to Hurl. So my name became Stacey Patricia Hurl. Then in roughly 2012, after I was divorced, I took back my maiden name, so my name returned back to Stacey Patricia Janz. And last year in 2016, I got married and my name changed to Stacey Janz Smith as it is today.
Very nice. So I have heard a lot about you, but I want to know directly from the source. Who is Stacey Janz Smith?
Well, to answer that question, I think in one word answers that kind of capsulize things. And so I would say that I am a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a boss, I'm a daughter, and I'm a friend. Those are some of the words that kind of summarize myself and the roles that I play in my life.
All right. And what would you say, well, I guess I am a little bit biased being your daughter, but what would you say is your favorite role?
Well,
Is that a tough question?
I would say that is a tough question. I would say there are my top two. First being obviously being a mom is one of the two. Two wonderful daughters that I have given birth to, and two additional daughters that I have inherited through my second marriage. And the second role, that being my wife, it is an extraordinary honor to be the wife to Todd Smith.
So would you say that your family is one of your greatest passions in life?
First and foremost, when the time comes that I leave this earth, I will say that my number one accomplishment in life is putting family first. And I count those people in my family and in my life, and those are in my extended family, even some really close friends that have joined the ranks of that group. That will definitely be among my greatest successes.
So, do you have any other passions in life or passions that you'd like to pursue?
Well, I think from a day-to-day basis, the lens of the work that I do outside of my family life, that would be my work. I actually work at the University of Cincinnati, I work in the College of Nursing, and I have two teams that I'm very fortunate that report up to me. And I think inherent in all of the work that I do with them is problem solving on a day-to-day basis. A lot of problems and issues that come up in running a college are brought to me, and it's something that I work on all the time. In my earlier years of my career in my life, one of the things that was a tremendous passion of mine was teaching, and I feel like every single day of my life, whatever I'm doing in some capacity, I'm teaching, helping, and trying to mentor others. So that is an area of my life that I hope to get back to, is in training and teaching others to be successful in the work that they do.
All right. So, going off of that, do you have some accomplishments that stick out more than other ones? What would you say your greatest accomplishments are?
There are a few things that come to mind, but the one that I think stands out the most to me will be the recent earning of my doctorate degree, which I also did last year in 2016. As I just shared, education is something that I am very passionate about. I have always had a very strong yearning for higher education from the time I was a very small young little girl. I had set for myself the goal to someday earn my doctorate degree, and I made a bucket list item that I had hoped to achieve that by the time I became 50, and I'm happy to report that I did that 2 years early. So that is clearly one of my largest accomplishments. It was a 5-year-long journey. It took tremendous sacrifice, not only by myself, but by my entire family to support me in achieving that accomplishment. So because it was something we all did together, I think that's something I count among my greatest achievements.
I think most would definitely agree that that is an accomplishment. I think a lot of people strive to get their doctorate degree, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So we talked a lot about what you enjoyed about your life, what your accomplishments are. There's always that one what if I believe, question that we always have growing up or getting to where we are today. So would you specifically have done anything different up to this point now that you know what your life turned out to be?
Well, I think from a career lens, if I could have done something different, another area of my life that I've always had a passion for is cooking and baking. So if I had another opportunity that I could go back to school without it being a tremendous strain on my family, I would consider going back to school to be a chef, learning how to do that professionally versus just kind of the playing that I do in the kitchen. That's something, if I could rewind the time and it could have fit that in somewhere in my life, I think it would have been a lot of fun and super exciting to have gone to culinary school.
Do you ever foresee yourself doing this in the future?
I think going back to school and any kind of formalized education for me is done. I feel like that period of my life took tremendous sacrifice from everyone in my life, as I already stated. And what I do look forward to is finding little singular cooking classes, perhaps on how to make sushi or Chinese cooking or other Italian cooking, or how to fine-tune my knife sharpening skills and cutting skills and those kinds of things. Finding little silly classes that don't lead to a degree or a credential, but that help me feel my passion or fuel my passion for cooking as well. But my days of formalized education are done, and I think my family would be excited to hear that.
If I knew them, I think they're pretty cool. I would agree with that. I think that they're pretty much done with you going to school. So
I will tell you, it was a 5-year period of my life earning that degree, and there were many, many days that I felt that my household ran on its own, and I was just simply a guest in my home as we all went through that together for me to finish. So it was a Herculean effort, but we all did it together.
It's definitely one of the greatest accomplishments. Alrighty, so last but not least, we're going straight to the source of who Stacey Janz Smith is. When you were a child or a little girl, what did you want to grow up to be? It could be like the most ridiculous thing. A lot of people will talk about being a princess or a mermaid, or some are more realistic, like a doctor or a dentist or things like that. And then, did it change throughout the years, or did it stay the same?
Well, from the time I was a little girl, I think I always had it in my mind that I wanted to be a teacher in some capacity. That changed the more that I went to high school. I think part of that truly might have been, honestly, the influence of my parents, who felt that the work of teachers were greatly underappreciated, and they thought that their child, like every parent does, had so much more to give the world and so many more talents, and my parents really wanted me to become a lawyer or a politician. I didn't want either of those. So I kind of thought about that. And actually, by the time I got to high school, my passion had shifted a little bit, and I thought, well, at the bottom line for me is that I wanted to work with people and help people and have the ability to change lives. So when I was in high school, my goal shifted from being a teacher to being a nurse. And my high school yearbook reflects that, where you put, what do you want to be when you grow up? I put nurse. By the time I graduated high school, my family shortly thereafter moved from New Jersey to Florida, and in that very long drive down the coast of the eastern seaboard, I had a long heart-to-heart with myself and realized I really didn't like science. So I thought, going to get a nursing degree, you're going to have a lot of science. And so I reinvigorated my passion for teaching and made the decision by the time I made to Florida that I would indeed go and become a teacher. And so I did that. I went 2 years at community college in the Orlando, Florida area, and then I transferred up to Florida State University in Tallahassee, where I earned my bachelor's degree in social studies education. And I then put that degree into practice, and I taught for more than a decade, and I loved most of it. It was very, very hard work, very self-fulfilling work. And then that transitioned into me teaching adults in corporate America, and things have come completely and totally full circle, because now I actually work in a college of nursing. While I do not have a nursing credential, I work in a college of nursing as an administrator and support nursing students each day.
So it essentially went full circle then.
It went completely full circle. So it's exciting to me that I get to work with other future nurses that are going to shape the medical world and provide great customer care and client-focused care to the public. And many of them will provide care to me someday when I need it. So it's just, my role has changed. I've stayed with nursing, but my role in the work that I do is just a little bit different.
So would you say that changing the lives of others for the better is one of your greatest accomplishments as well?
Absolutely. Another thing about when the time comes that I approach the end of my life, I will look and analyze my life not on the things that I have, the possessions that I have, but I will look on those whose lives I have touched and impacted, and the relationships that I have. As long as I am surrounded by people who love me and who I love deeply, I will feel that my life is a success. It's not about a tangible object or a personal achievement or goal. I really think it's about the kind of impact and the mark that you make on this world.
I couldn't agree more. You know, it sounds like a lot of this stuff could be in a book someday. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, there really is a good chance that that could happen. Stay tuned.
Is there a quote that we can look forward to hearing, something that sums up the life of Stacey Janz, or a quote that sticks out to you that you've stuck by your whole life?
There is kind of a personal mantra. It's like my own personal serenity prayer, which was near and dear to my mother's heart. And it's about putting yourself out there, taking leaps of faith, and trying to make your mark and your impression on the world, and trying to do the best that you can. And it is very simply stated that you have to understand that there comes a point in time where you are empowered to do things, and others where it's beyond your scope, and knowing the difference. And the statement is, when you can no longer impact it or change it, don't own it. But when you can impact it, when you have the power, the strength, the tools, the expertise, or the wisdom to carry something through and make an impact on this world, that you should. And when you've reached the limit in any of those areas, you seek additional guidance and help. You hand it off to someone else temporarily, and hopefully you regain or you acquire those skills and talents. You take it back on when you're ready, and then you move forward in solving those problems.
Well, thank you very much for giving us your time today, Stacey.
It's been my pleasure.
And you have a good one.
You too.